Hi, everybody. I'm Becca Atkins with Artreach, and we're here tonight to do a poetry reading for you. Let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing here. I'm the Executive Director of Artreach in Norwich, and this is going to be a poetry reading of work from Artreach's first zine, Creativity Heals, Art and Poetry from Artreach Volume 1. Hopefully Volume 1 of many more. If this is October 14th at 7 o'clock, you're watching us live. And if not, you're watching the replay. So thanks for that. Our event today is in celebration of Disabilities Awareness Week. I'd like to thank Alana Sherman and the Norwich Commission of Persons with Disabilities for inviting us to be a part of their Disabilities Awareness Week. And also Julie Menders for her help in getting this event going. If this were any other year, we would be down at Otis Library live in their week-long Disabilities Awareness Week events. But we're really grateful to have this platform so that we can still participate. Today we have Bryn Hickey with us, who's going to be interpreting our poems. And I'm going to be joined in a few minutes by some Artreach staff who are in the waiting room, and they're going to share work from our poetry class that's been ongoing for many years. And we'll talk more about how poetry has worked at Artreach over time. So first, let me tell you what the agency is. Artreach is an arts and mental health nonprofit in Norwich, Connecticut, that offers performing opportunities and classes in the arts for the purpose of reducing stress, for building community, and for deepening our connections with ourselves. And primarily the people who work with us at Artreach are people who have been diagnosed with mental illnesses and who are using the arts in the service of their recovery. We're really happy to participate in Disabilities Awareness Week because part of our mission is to increase awareness about mental illness, which some people refer to as an invisible disability. Before I go any farther, I want to grab Emma, just so I don't feel alone and so you don't have to just look at me. Let's see, there she is. Okay. Emma, can you unmute so we can introduce you? I can unmute you. Oh. Well, in a minute, I'm going to have Emma as soon as I can get her voice.
We can't both hit the button at the same time.
No, I think we have you, me, and our co-producer, Corinne, all trying to unmute you at the same time. Hi, Emma. Emma's the Associate Director at Artreach.
Glad to be here, and we're thrilled to be sharing some of our poetry with you all tonight.
I'm really glad you came in to read the poetry. It's been nice having you in class too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of new for you. You've only been in a few of the poetry classes, but isn't it a special group?
Yeah, it really is. And the way people just willingly dive into whatever the prompt or the topic is, and everybody comes up with such different, it's fun to watch with the same prompt, the same writing prompt or the same structure, all the different things that people express within that same form.
Yeah. And later we're going to talk about form because that's one of the main magics of the group. I just want to say the poetry group at Artreach has been going since 2009. A friend of mine, Annie Geisinger, came in and taught the class first. And we didn't call it a poetry class because poetry sounded a little intimidating. So the class was called Playing with Words. And we took it from there. So when we first started, I looked back at some of the old poetry to get ready for this reading, and I realized that a lot of the early stuff that we did was done in groups. So when we were in person, we would be writing along, and then she'd say, "Stop, hand your paper to the next person." And the next person would continue your poem. So we had a lot of really interesting collaborations that happened at work at first. And then we started working more the way we do now with both free writing with forms and then studying some poetry techniques and free writing without form and then studying forms and techniques. Blah. I'm going to let you read a poem. So I know that you picked some from our volume of poetry and art.
Huh?
Yeah. Do you want to say something about the first one that you picked?
Sure. So, I think, can I do a shorter one to start? And then we'll go into a longer one. Or do you want to start with the long one?
You know what? No, you can do a shorter one to start. Why don't you just start with the one you want to? I'm going to stay here and just mute myself.
We got to warm up a little bit. So this is what our zine looks like. Creativity Heals, and it's got a lot of great artwork, all from Artreach classes. And I'm going to read Pieces by Melody Smith. I am looking deeper into the depths of my soul, not to replace, but to repair the pieces, to walk with them hand in hand. I am not lost and running from the person I am. I am running toward the person I know, who no longer runs from fear. A person who isn't afraid to be herself. A person I love. Most importantly, a person who is free. And that's by Melody Smith. And this is actually her artwork accompanying on the, I'm on the wrong page. Art by Melody Smith. The mirroring thing is difficult to get a hold of. So
it's funky, right? The mirroring. I have a tough time with that.
Yeah.
I love that poem by Melody. And, you know, it's one of the many things that, well, first, let me just say, I hope, Melody, that you're able to watch tonight, because we heard from the poets that when they hear someone else speak their words back, it makes them experience their own poetry differently. And after we did our book launch back in August, we heard from several of them. So that's what I was hoping would happen. Sometimes just to hear someone else hold your work, you really see the beauty of it. And there's so much that comes out of that class. I learn new stuff about people every time they write something. People I've known for 10, 20 years.
And it's why, you know, when we got the idea to put a book together, which actually came out of a board meeting, you know, for people to see their work published is just also validation and bring some closure. And then to add on to that, having other people read your work and read it aloud at a presentation makes it really special.
Yeah. I love the book too. Every time I handle it, you know, I really love it because Allie did such a beautiful job putting this together.
Yeah. So the zine is hand printed by Allie Matterson Quinlog at Magic Press, located in New London. So these were hand printed. We worked very closely and to pull it together and lay it out, and then they were hand printed and delivered to us. So it's really kind of cool. It feels, you know, even the selection of the papers used, you know, a lot of attention to detail went into that, and it does feel good in your hand.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Let me see. You know, Dick is behind me. So I just want to comment that all of the Artreach staff are here today. There are 4 of us. You can't see Corinne, but Corinne is manning the chat box. So if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, Corinne, our event coordinator, is responding to your messages. And Dick Pape, who's behind me in my living room, who's my partner, is the music director. And he's been doing things like one-on-one music lessons and running some virtual tours to cultural sites during the pandemic. So we've all been doing some pretty interesting activities. But he's going to read a poem. So I think I'm going to go ahead and have him read. Want to do mine?
Sure.
So you want to move up here so they can see you?
Yeah, I'm kind of.
Come on in. You look great.
Yeah, when I'm sitting back there, I look like I'm, you know, tattooed. Boss, the poem. Oh, I need to place this right
I'll be
there.
your music stand.
Be my music stand.
Okay.
I like the title on this one. It's called Smoke Soul Rising. And it's, I got it right. It's by Becca Atkins. I imagine we dissolve as we take our leave. Present hanging in the air, a heaving, rolling ribbon, changing second by second, winding up, spreading out, dissolving bit by bit. Memories and grief keep my song in the air for a while until you can no longer hold me here. I will rise and wisp and disappear, leaving behind traces, some harmonic or a note tucked inside your favorite vase to be found many years from now when you're old. Will you find it before you come join me?
Thanks, Dick. Well, that was fun. So I got to have that experience of hearing somebody read one of mine. Huh? Oh, yeah. You want this one back?
Yeah, thank you.
You can do that one later, too. I think maybe what we'll do, see, I lost Emma for a minute. I think I'm going to use one of our videos. So we actually have some pre-recorded guest videos. And Emma, I'll just give you a heads up that we'll do loons after the video. So come back in after this video. But first, we have a songwriter, a pal of ours who has taught some songwriting classes at Artreach, who pre-recorded a video of a poem by Dylan Croft. And Dylan was started in 2009 with us. There's a group of us that all started together at the very beginning. And Dylan co-led and then led that group for several years. So the ownership of the group has changed hands several times. But this one was, Dylan is no longer with us, and this one is very special to us as a result. So this is Joe Kroger.
This is In El Puerto by Dylan Croft. I am depressed and suicidal, overwhelmed and fearful. I cannot find a pleasant thought, let alone compassion. But if memory serves, there was that time when the windows were closed, and the gas was on and the fire was out. And my sleep was so peaceful. Then they came in, 2 sisters of mercy, woke me and walked me out of that room. They spoke to me in a language unknown and laid me on the sofa. They covered me warmly and built a wood fire, their soft voices smoothing the jagged edges of my soul as I cried out my despair into their long woolen robes. When they returned to the sunlight, I rested in peace, alive and content for that moment at least.
Thanks, Joe. I know you're out there. We really appreciated having your voice in this. And let's see, now we're gonna have Emma read a poem that we thought paired nicely with that one.
So this poem is also in our volume. It's entitled The Loons Crying, and it's by Rosemary J. Always haunting their cries, but never more than the night she lost her mate. After the shock of the snapping turtle grabbing her mate and pulling him down, down, down to death, she cried all night long, "Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?" And all the next day the same. "Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?" Sometime the next night, she stopped crying. I'm not sure when, yet she never stopped looking for her mate. Her natural cries no longer had any meaning for her, so she stopped crying, but she never stopped looking. Love does not die so easily.
Well, so there was that little theme that kind of ran through actually all three of those. I wasn't paying attention when we added that one in there. But, that's one of the things that happens with in the poetry class is that themes come up. And we discovered early on that when we wrote as a group, it was almost like we'd be sitting around the table, and I'm going to be a little woo-woo for a minute. That some little cloud was over the table that was magic fairy dust of our collective consciousness. And we started writing real similarly themed things. They were not the same poem. We could all start with exactly the same thing and they'd be different, but similar words would filter in, and we just felt real connected when that happened. Especially if a word showed up in three people's poems that nobody had heard in years. It just feels good.
Yeah, and I think both of those last two poems are very personal to the poets, but also transcend, a little higher in the imagery and just both beautiful and poignant.
Yeah. Yeah. We should have brought some limericks too. We've done, so we like to work with form. Let's talk for a minute about partly how this works. So we tend to start the classes with a check-in, just a quick check-in, and then writing from some sort of a prompt. The kind of free writing where you just keep writing and you just write what next. If you get jammed up, you just let it flow. Usually a one-word prompt. I think last week was bicycle, So you never know. And then we go back through that piece and circle words and phrases that jump out at us. And then we'll talk about a form. So let me switch to the other side of the brain and start talking about meter and rhyme and structure. And, we pick a different form that we may work with for a few weeks, or we may work with for just 1 week. I know we had one person who wrote a whole series of villanelles, which are complicated, and it's been fun. But the thing about poetry and form and working with trauma and with emotional issues is that there's something that happens when you have that structure to work within. The same thing happens when you color mandalas and you have an outside form. It helps it contain something to work with that form. And my favorite one that we've talked about, this is just my current jag that I've been on for several years, is that if you have a big emotional issue going on, just encapsulate that sucker in a haiku. You have 3 lines, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. And if you can take a big thing that's bugging you and boil it down into one haiku, there's some kind of magic power that happens. And it just helps you get edges around that issue. I did that for a whole year after the last election. I did.
Get your haikus ready.
I know. I actually have been doing that lately, because when there are things happening in the world that are upsetting to me, that's one of the ways, it's one of my coping tools. So let's see. I have a couple more. I have one more pre-recorded one. And then you have another one to read, and Dick has another one to read, I think. Which one should we do first? Do you want to read another one, Emma?
Sure. And then we'll go to the recording.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep.
Wait a minute. I might want to save the recording. The recording, I'm just going to, just in case anybody's thinking about leaving anytime soon, I just want to give a little piece of bait, which is that the recording that I have is of former Artreach Executive Director and co-founder S.J. Williams, who she couldn't join us live, but she pre-recorded a video for us of one of Judy Essex's poems that I just love. So stay tuned for that one. Now you're up.
All right. So this one is titled Simple Pleasures. And let's see, there's the image that goes with it.
It matches the background.
Yeah. And this is by Barbara Stanley. It's that time again. Can you feel it? Close your eyes and take your shoes off, wiggling your toes in the warm, moist sand, feeling it shift under the weight of your body, sinking, sinking. And the gulls crying, flying overhead, scavenging for any scraps that were left behind in the late afternoon exodus. They're all gone now. No one left but you and I. Standing on the edge of the universe, the sticky, salty water drifting up and over our toes, flowing around us and wavering but for a moment, only to recede back into the foaming froth from whence it came. I open my eyes now. Oh, yes, it is time. You must open your eyes or you will surely miss it. That precise moment in time that we came here to witness. As the gulls fly down the beach to keep the night fishermen company, I lean over to gently push the breeze-blown lock of hair from your eyes. You must not miss a thing. Oh, it is here. I reach for your hand to squeeze it as if to say, see, what did I tell you? Isn't this the very best sunset you have ever seen? And you squeeze my hand back and grin as if to reply, yes, but you said that the last time, and the time before, and the time before. The colors are breathtaking. As the wispy clouds meander across the face of the setting sun, they seem to linger but a moment, just long enough for us to remember ourselves and lift up the camera to take a picture. I just love that because I think we've all had that moment.
Is the sailboat Barbara's art?
Actually, no. The sailboat is by Kate Steele, who is our board chair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm glad we got that in there. It goes so perfectly with that poem.
And you want me to point out this artwork here on the opposite page is by Cynthia Adams, who we're going to hear some of her poetry tonight as well. So,
actually, I think we're going to hear Cynthia's poem next.
Yeah.
Dick's going to read Cynthia's poem. And at some point, Emma, I'm going to get you, and I won't put Corinne on the spot if she doesn't want me to, but I kind of, but I might. Because I really want at least you or y'all to talk about the upcoming Second Step Players project.
Mm-hmm.
It's so exciting, and I want everybody to hear about it.
Yeah.
But let's see. There's something else. Oh, I know. Do you still have Barbara's poem in front of you? There's a line I need to hear again.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to savor that line. The one about this precise moment. Can I hear that line again?
Oh, yes. Let me find it.
Maybe 2/3 of the way through.
Yes. I open my eyes now. Oh, yes, it is time. You must also open your eyes or you will surely miss it. That precise moment in time that we came here to witness.
That precise moment in time that we came here to witness.
Mm-hmm.
I love that phrase. I just love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dick, you ready to read one?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me get out of the way and let you do it.
I have a thought. Can I share it?
What?
I have a thought. Can I share it?
About this or just in general?
In general.
Yeah.
While I'm getting my page set up, I was listening to
Let me get way out of the way. There
other people reading. I had this vision of a black and white striped shirt and a beret and somebody playing bongos. But I seriously, I got to thinking about jazz and poetry. And jazz, you take a solo. I didn't like that one. I'm going to go around again and see if I can improve on it. And each time you play, it's a different interpretation. And when poetry is read, you can read through it one way, and then the next time, let me change that and see how that sounds. And the next time, so it's always a different interpretation. Hence the correlation between poetry and jazz. I thought that was pretty cool. This is called Inheritance. It's by Cynthia Adams. Incomprehensible. I carry on like water spreading towards evaporation. Are you the angry piece of my inheritance? For you, I mourned. In tears, I cried. Lapping at the shores of intangibility, I cast all my doubt to the side. Are you all the generosity he had? Flowing freely and away now, spreading thinly, as I calculate your true worth, it was the moments that we talked. Are they falling rocks like so many dollar bills? Like water, I flow beyond it. Are you the angry piece of my inheritance?
Thanks, Dick. I'm going to put you on the spot about the jazz thing that you just said, because I went to poetry. I went to an online poetry thing not too long ago, and one of the things they talked about was adding original music to poetry. So I feel that experiment coming down the pike. Don't you think it would be a good one?
It would. I have done that in the past.
Good, cool.
I've done that in the past with several musicians that I've worked with through the years, and it's always been an interesting experience and usually a good one.
Well, great. All right, so we're going to play with that. So I know Julie Menders is watching. Julie, you love that idea, don't you? We're going to combine the jazz and poetry and see what happens. Did we lose Emma?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Okay, there you are. She disappeared.
Poems look better with the one signing right next to the reader.
Let's see. So I think, do we have another one from you and the one from S.J.? We'll do the one from S.J. next, and then we'll talk about second step players. How about that?
That sounds good.
Sound good? All right. So next up, we're going to have our special guest, S.J. Williams.
Hey everyone, this is S.J. I worked with Artreach for many years, as a lot of you know, and I was so gratified when Becca asked me to read a poem today. So here we go. Before I do, I just want to say, love this book of poetry, and thank you so much for putting it out. I chose to read a poem by Judy Essex. It's called Truth. In our world where information overwhelms the mind, it seems there is no universal constant, no other truth. How is one to accept a reality that is ever-changing, a boundary that is always shifting? If our morality is subjective, then what is the constant? It is this, then. We must try to do no harm whenever possible. We will know how to do this by what we observe. We will know how to do this by what we feel. Whew. Thanks, Judy.
I'm so glad we got that poem in there. I remember when Judy wrote that poem. That was years ago, and it just, I loved it. Oh, okay. Let's see. I think this question is for Dick that we're seeing on the bottom of the screen, and it's, did you ever work with Carol Kay or with Tommy Tedesco because you were a session player?
No, I didn't. And I thank you for even associating me with those people. It's just a quick word about Carol and Tommy. You've heard them. Everyone has heard them in numerous times, but because they were session musicians, they were anonymous. Carol Kay, bum, 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 and the beat goes on. He wrote the bass line for that.
And a lot of other stuff.
Many other things. Tommy Tedesco, all that really weird sounding guitar on Green Acres, and the beautiful classical guitar intro to the TV show MASH was Tommy. And you also heard both of them on probably every Beach Boys hit, Frank Sinatra, Barbara Streisand. So no, I never would have worked, I never did work with them, but it would have been such a blessing to have been able to just be in the same room with them.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. I know Carol Kay gets a shout out in the show The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which a lot of us love because of the stand-up comedy element. And the female bass player in that is sort of a representation of Carol Kay. So we have one more poem, I think, that Emma is going to read. And I'm debating whether we should talk about second step players first and then save the poem for after second step players discussion.
Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
So if I see Corinne appear, that means she wants to talk about it with you. That's awesome. I'm going to mute and just let y'all talk about that. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, we're in an exciting place because we just have auditioned for our December show, which will be virtual. And it is new second step players, all new material called Stir Crazy Comedy from the Pandemic. So Corinne and I have written various sketches. Corinne did a lot of the writing. Give her credit. She's wrote a majority of the sketches, and we're going to be co-directing the show too. What else can we say about it, Corinne?
The show will go up virtually, so no matter the state of the world or the country, you'll be able to see it sometime mid-December. So definitely like us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram to get updates for all of our upcoming events, including Stir Crazy.
And this is a good time to thank our funders for that show, Chelsea Groton Foundation, the Pfizer Community Foundation, and the Norwich the Rotary Club of Norwich have also specifically supported that production. And we also Artreach receives support from the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, DEMAS, as well as the Department of Economic and Community Development, Connecticut Office of the Arts. And this past year, we also received support, let me just check, from the R.S. Gernon Trust, administered by Bank of America, Bloom Shapiro Foundation, and New England Foundation for the Arts. So, and of course, numerous other sponsors and individuals. We thank everybody for their support and especially making these programs happen and keeping us going through the pandemic and beyond. So,
Corinne, thanks for coming in to talk about that. I appreciate it. And I just want to say about y'all, I got to be present at auditions, and this has really been refreshing for me because in previous years, my job started out being the assistant director of Second Step Players, and then I moved into being the director of the Second Step Players, and then was the executive director of the agency. But I was holding those two things together, and I've been really passing off the directorship of Second Step Players since I've gotten Emma and Corinne on board, who are wonderful theater professionals. And I just feel like I have so much trust in them taking this project, and the transition is just, it's done. I got to come to auditions and be a fly on the wall and witness like the new era of this. And it's very exciting to me in a weird, a fitting time for a new era with, pandemic and virtual stuff. And hey, everything's different. It just makes, we're just rolling with the changes. And I think that I have to give credit to Artreach for helping me be able to do that, because our key word has always been flexibility. If there's one thing that you learn by being an Artreach member, particularly in Second Step Players, which is flexibility, because you have to adapt and change all the time.
Especially now.
Especially now. So we had years and years of practice having to go with the flow, and it's paying off right now. And we're finding that our members are learning new skills, and even though there's a learning curve for all of us about how to stay connected and do this in this world, I have an equal amount of excitement about it, and especially for helping the participants in Artreach up the ante on their own computer skills, which gives them access to the world.
Yeah, I have to say auditions were just, everybody showed up, their tech work, it was the first time a lot of us were acting in a Zoom box, and it just was, it was cool. It all worked, and, and we had a good time and got the job done. So
For sure. It's, I think it's going to be a fun production, and it's going to be beyond talking heads. Let's just say that. It's going to be beyond talking heads and boxes. So I definitely think you should stay tuned for that. So we have two more things for you. We have one more poem, and then to take us out tonight, we have a slideshow that includes a lot of the other things that happen at Artreach. Tonight you're hearing poetry, but we also, as we mentioned, have a theater troupe, Second Step Players. We have a music program. We have a visual arts program. Ooh, grab my painting. Grab my painting. we get to do art with a wonderful art teacher named Faith Satterfield. So the other night she delivered an art kit to me, and I painted this. I painted this here. I'm so excited. It's Faith is a wonderful teacher, and we're planning to expand and include more people. So please stay in touch with us if you're wanting to do music, and it's happening virtually. But if you want to explore these art forms virtually, talk to us. We're here. We're going to expand, and we're just rolling with it. So, Emma, if you will do that, then at the end we'll have the slideshow that will be a representation of the other things I just talked about to take us out.
Great, thanks. This poem is entitled "I Wish" by Robin Fleming. Right now we've got trees dropping orange and red leaves, but think back to spring and this one will resonate with you. I wish. I wish I knew the name of that tree, full of pale pink flowers, and yesterday, bumblebees. Cool breeze on a warm spring day, pink snow, drifts, and more petals falling. Full of pale pink flowers, and yesterday, bumblebees. Birds calling to one another, pink snow drifts, and more petals falling. Silence for a moment, birds calling to one another. Inside, paper and pens. Silence for a moment, writing down memories. Inside, paper and pens. Cool breeze on a warm spring day. Writing down memories. I wish I knew the name of that tree.
I miss Robin. After our initial teacher, Annie Geisinger, was no longer teaching there, Robin took over the class, teaching the class, co-leading it with Dylan, who you also heard from. And Robin passed away several years ago. We all miss her desperately, but we have included that poem of hers because all of us know that tree. It's right out back at Artreach, and she wrote it during cherry blossom time. And we know the bumblebees in that tree. So I love hearing it. It makes me feel like I still have a little piece of her. So thank you for reading all those poems, Emma. I really appreciate that you did that.
Yeah.
Us tonight. And we're really happy that we got to have Bren with us tonight too. And all the rest of the Artreach staff, Corinne and Dick, we're probably going to still be here after this, but we're going to play a video and then we're just going to say goodbye and take off. So if you need to leave, you can do that. But this is a video with original music by Dick about other things that happen at Artreach. Hey, thanks for coming, y'all. So, hey, during that, I got a chance to look at the comments.
Me too.
Now I have more to say. And Ben, I hope that you're still here. And I hope that sometime I get to hear your experiment about how many swear words fit into a haiku. It's probably not one that we'll do on a broadcast like this, but we in the room will appreciate it greatly. And you can fit a lot of words because a lot of those are one-syllable words, as I started to think about it during that break. And yes, Dick does offer guitar lessons, so and is doing them
Online.
Virtually, so that's happening. And I also saw in the chat box, and I want to say this because it has been important in our being able to be virtual, that somebody who was a recipient of one of these commented, thank you to Pfizer for the donation of laptops that for our program members who have used them to come to our classes and also just to learn computer skills and how to be in the virtual world. So I know some people have used their laptops for going to church and for doing, for taking classes. We did some supported classes, like helping people go through a Coursera class, like together, so that now they know how to do Coursera classes, which I think was a pretty cool thing to do. It turned out very well, and I learned some stuff in the class too. So yeah,
yeah, and we started. Actually, we had started pursuing the donation of laptops a couple weeks before the shutdown. So that was in process, and we started distributing the laptops at the beginning of April. So it's really been great to see everybody get really fluent in using them. And I think like being able to audition on our computers this past week, it's what we've all been working up toward. So it's really been amazing, and it's going to be really awesome when we start rehearsing on Zoom.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah. I just, I want to say thank you to all. This is the entire Artreach staff that you see right here. And, we're really grateful to be here and to have the opportunity to work with people together to really embody recovery through the arts, because we love all of that stuff. We love wellness. All of us love the arts and music and theater. And we hope you do too. But thank you for coming to hear our poetry and for, spending your evening with us. We really appreciate it. And is there anything else we need to say, y'all, before we take off?
Creativity heals.
Creativity heals. That is our mantra. So keep in touch, y'all, and we will see you again soon. Keep in touch with our Facebook and YouTube channels, and this is where we'll be doing more of this stuff. So thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye.